Well, finally, it looks as though Marvel have made a correct decision, a decision that I don't think is going to change much, but it is quite interesting that Marvel have now fired Victoria Alonso. And for people who don't know who that is the woman who said the term X-Men is outdated. It's also the woman who slammed Bob Chapek when he was the boss of Disney. So it's really someone who has outstayed their welcome. Someone that is, it's surprising they've been there for as long as they have, as it says here, a 2-decade run. And she's now gone. We don't actually have word on whether it is a firing or she's, moved somewhere else. But I'm just going to go ahead and assume that that's what it is, because you're dealing with someone that puts activism first. They tend not to leave. They're very hard people to get rid of. But let's have a little look at this and see what the story behind it is. Maybe we'll get a bit of history on what Victoria has done, and it hasn't been many good things, let's just put it that way. But Deadline has confirmed that the esteemed Marvel executive and EP of several movies, Victoria Alonso, has exited Marvel Studios after a 17-year run. Whatever shall we do? No reasons were given for her departure, which was effective Friday. I think just looking at it from that standpoint as well, it does look like a firing if it's just, effective Friday. And it's not yet clear where she's heading. I mean, that will kind of be the tell on whether it was or not. If she goes somewhere where it seems as though it's more of a promotion, then I would figure she probably didn't get fired. But again, you're dealing with people that, as soon as they get into a place like Marvel, when they get given quite a bit of power, I don't imagine they want to leave. Her exit is quite a shocker, given her, is a shocker, considering the decisions that Marvel have made over the past few years. Amiable demeanor and passion for all things Marvel. That was definitely a passion. It wasn't anything else. Her most recent title at Marvel Studios was President, Physical and Post-Production, VFX and Animation Production. And I believe this was about 2 years ago where she got promoted to that. Alonso was recently a producer on the Oscar-nominated international feature film Argentina. She joined Marvel in 2006 as Chief of Visual Effects and Post-Production, and was involved in the launch of 2008's Iron Man as co-producer. And I would imagine a lot less of a problem back then, considering it was, mostly production, producer sort of stuff. Counting additional co-producer credits on Iron Man 2 for Captain America, before being elevated to EP on Avengers. Alonso has also served as an exec producer on Marvel movies and Disney Plus series, including most recently, so maybe this has something to do with it, that we have witnessed failure after failure. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, flop. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, did it, I suppose it done fine. Still a terrible film, though. Thor: Love and Thunder, that underperformed, terrible. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, I won't get tired of saying, one of the worst movies ever put out there. In addition to series such as Loki, I'm watching that show at the moment, and yeah, you probably should be gone if you have any hand in that show. Ms. Marvel, again, another underperforming series. I believe the least watched Marvel original series. And the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, to name a few. And then you can kind of get into, why she probably wasn't the best fit for Marvel, considering what she was more focused on. She wasn't focused on the quality of the story or anything like that, the important things. She was more interested, as it says here, a consistently outspoken champion of diversity in entertainment. And look at that, what do you know? It failed. It failed again, because people don't go to entertainment for diversity reasons. They go there for good stories. That's really all that counts. Alonso said during a 2021 Women in Animation panel at the Annecy Animation Film Festival that inclusion, diversity, and gender parity all go hand in hand with showing the world as it is. The veteran executive producer added that you can look at diversity from the social point of view, the cultural point of view, or maybe you can do your fucking job and make good movies. That should have been the focus, and maybe you wouldn't be in this position, which I assume is fired. But truthfully, this is a business. From a fiscal point of view, you are leaving money on the table by not representing. Again, you shouldn't really have nothing to do with money. You clearly don't understand it. I think 51% of our audience is female, so we know that's a lie. 28% of our audience is Hispanic. If we don't represent the people that watch what we make, eventually they'll go elsewhere because somebody else will figure it out. Everybody's gone elsewhere. So what are you... Everybody went elsewhere, as we've seen with the recent installment of Quantumania. So that hasn't quite worked itself out. But again, when you have people like this that are more obsessed on trivial things and not focused on the task at hand, you start to run into problems and you don't quite produce good quality. Another instance of Alonso's outspokenness, that they're probably going to forget about the term X-Men is outdated. On issues of diversity and inclusion came last year when the openly gay exec called on then Disney CEO Bob Chapek. Yes, she called out Bob Chapek, her boss, and seemed to not face any consequences of that. It seems like maybe this might play a part in the reason why, I don't know if this is Kevin Feige that's gotten rid of her, or if it's Bob Iger. It could be any of the two. But maybe that has a part to play. Maybe Bob Iger's like, I don't want to have to deal with this twat. Seems like she may cause me a bit of problems. And that's, of course, to do with the Don't Say Gay bill, which, of course, wasn't what it was actually called. But, again, it shows you what type of person you're dealing with. More interested in activism than producing films people want to see. So you end up with this. So it's not really, to be honest, it is surprising that Marvel actually made the right decision for once. Again, it's something it's not going to change anything. It will not change a thing. It's a similar situation to Lucasfilm. It's like people seem to think if you get rid of Kathleen Kennedy, that solves its problems. Whereas with Marvel, it's the same thing. Getting rid of people like this doesn't change a thing because you've got so many other people like this. Whether it is I'm going to focus on the wrong thing, or if it's just utter incompetence. So it's very interesting, but I would probably wager it's a firing. I think just from recently with Quantumania, someone's got to take the fall for it. It's certainly not going to be Kevin Feige. You're looking at someone that's essentially the second in command. And has pretty much produced shite after shite because, once again, focusing on the wrong thing.